Good morning and welcome to Inside News. It's our Friday show on the mark, and I'm happy to have Shahil back with me. I won't be flying solo today. I'm always happy to have you here, Shahil.
Happy to be back.
How did your exams go? You passed? What do you think?
Hopefully we'll get the results in 3 weeks.
Okay, well, all the best with that. Right, we've got an exam today. We've done all our homework, and hopefully we're going to pass with flying colours. We're going to start off with race 1. It's a 1400 meters 0.25. Have to say it's a tough race to kick off with. In fact, it's quite a tough card tomorrow. It's quite hard to find a banker, never mind a value bet, but we've tried our best. Let's start off with race 1. As I said, it's a 1400 meter 0.25. My favorite horse, Klopp, is running. I don't know how many times I've fancied this horse, but I just got a feeling that he's going to get it all together tomorrow. Klopp, I think, I know he did run, was it last week?
Yeah.
Yep, he ran last week. Very good run behind Captain Moss and First Crusade from a very poor draw of 9. This time he's drawn 5. He's got Jamie Aliassane back on him again. He's got the 3 kilos off his back. It's a tough race, but I just think that maybe Klopp's going to put it off this time. Shay, what do you think of Klopp? Have you given up on him, or are you still going to give him another chance?
I'm still going to give him another chance. Like you said, it was an okay race last week. It was a bit green in the final stretch. He was completely wide on the turn. Interesting to know that the blinkers goes on again this time. His first 2 races were with the blinkers. He didn't perform too well. Let's see how he goes this time.
Yeah, I think that looking at this race, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a lot more handier this time. He is drawn 5. He's got Dark Liability on his inside, and I wouldn't be surprised. Well, if it was my horse, I definitely would. I would have him sort of out of the trouble, try and bounce him and get him clear. And even if he doesn't lead, maybe one off sitting up second, because for me he's a better horse than this field, and he might just prove to be too good at the end. One horse I want to talk about is number 7, the Judicator. It was a very good run his first start when he ran 4 lengths behind Zodiac Jack, and my question mark or what sort of troubles me is the fact that he hasn't run since the first meeting. But I can tell you his work has been pretty impressive. I've liked his work, and I think, if you look back at his first run, he was drawn 10 and he was finishing very well on his first start. This is a 1400 meters. It is an extra sort of 35 meters, which in my opinion is going to suit him, the Judicator. Shahil, have you seen anything about the Judicator?
Yeah,
anything you want to talk about him?
I did saw him at track work. He's working quite well, like you said, but I guess he might just need the run because his first run was in the first meeting, and he's coming back on the 14 or 15, I think we are. So he might just need the run. I prefer Dark Liability. I think looking at the card, there's no real front runners. If he can get up and lead, he might be a hard horse to catch.
Yeah, I've made him my third choice, and I've written down exactly what you said. I thought he's most likely to lead here. Look, he did win in a 0.20, but he wasn't disgraced last time in that 1400 0.25. And if he does lead, he could just go on and stay there. But that's exactly how he likes to run. I'm going to give you my trifecta. I'm going to give Klopp one more chance. I'm going to Klopp the Judicator to beat Dark Liability for third. What's your trifecta?
I'm going with Dark Liability. I think if he's alone in front, he might be able to stay up there. For second, I'll go with Klopp. And for third, I like Après-Ski. I've saw his gallop on Tuesday. He was very well. He drops to a 0.20 for the first time. Raj Ramdin's got 2 horses in the rain, Blue Jeans also. And interesting that Keenan Stein, the stable jockey, has elected to ride him. So I'll go with him for third.
Yeah, that's amazing, Shell. That's exactly what I wrote. I said, I'm very surprised that Keenan Stein has gone with Après-Ski instead of Blue Jeans. Blue Jeans ran quite a decent race last time, so that is quite an interesting decision made by the stable jockey there. But anyway, I'm going to go with Klopp, Judicator, Dark Liability. Right, we move over to race 2. It's a 1500 meter benchmark 36, and unfortunately, Mamba Rock has got the worst of draws. He would have been my bank of the day. Unfortunately, you can't bank him from that draw. Although his last win, he came from a draw 8. Robbie, I thought, got him in a good position. And I think he won a lot more comfortably than what it looked. And Mamba Rock, if it wasn't for that draw, I'd make him very, very hard to beat. He's still going to be my first choice. I think, I have spoken to Robbie Fad, and he rates this horse. He thinks that he's going to be a decent horse. In fact, he said next year he might be a horse that's going to go through the divisions. He really likes Mamba Rock. Shahil, your thoughts on Mamba Rock? Obviously, that draw is a big problem.
Definitely, I agree with you. I also rate him very highly, and like you said, Robbie does. Mark, last time he was drawn 8 out of 8 on a third in 65. You're reading about Deschamps de Mars. The third in 65 is just round the turn, right, and you've got such a small time to get a decent position. The 1500 should suit him much better, and trusting Robbie Fad with his experience, I think he can get a good position. And like you said, this horse, he won so well last time. I think he's still got a bag of potential.
Yeah, I think Mambarak, like Shael says, you got that 1500 meters, you got a little bit of sort of ground before you hit that first turn. But any race, when you're drawn badly, it all depends on, a lot depends on luck, you know, whether or not you can get a gap, or if you see a sort of little gap that you can get into so that you're not racing 3 wide. Because you're racing 3 wide on this course around that first bend, you can put your chances to bed. So let's hope that Mambarak gets a little bit of luck in running. He does get sort of, I think he's good enough, even if he sits 3/4 way back, I think he's good enough to beat this lot. Obviously, Uzo, excellent run last time in that 3-year-old championship when he finished behind Why Wouldn't You? And I think Zodiac Jack finished second in that race. It was a very good run. He came from quite far off them from that, with that bad draw. He will be drawn 7 this time. Not ideal, but obviously a little bit better than Mumbo Rock's draw. So Uzo, I think he's going to be the biggest danger to Mumbo Rock. And then one other horse I wanted to talk about was Swinging Captain. I think he obviously needed his first run. It is still a little bit short for him, but I'm expecting a much better run from Swinging Captain. Shell, tell us a little bit more about what do you think about race 2?
I like a bit of Duke the Duke. Last time he was following a bit too far off the leader. He wasn't too far off the winner though. He made some good headway at the end of the race. This time, if he's ridden more positively, I think he should be right there.
Okay, so give me your trifecta.
I'll go with Mambo Rock, Uzo, and Duke the Duke.
Okay, mine's similar, except I've got Mambo Rock, Uzo, and I think I'm thinking Swinging Captain, because I know he's a decent horse and he's a big horse. I think he would have definitely needed that first outing. He's going to be a lot fitter this time. Right, race 3. It's a 1850 benchmark 41, and I'm going to hand this over to you, Shael, because this is a tough race to find a winner. Kick off.
It is a tough race, but I like Misty Roller here. I'm going to make him my value bet of the day. I'm very surprised to see him at 600 rupees. His last race was a really good one, a cracking race in the 4-year-old championship behind the great one in Lee Star. Yes, it was with 52 kgs, but this time he's such in a weak field. There's no, if you put Lee Star or the great one in this race, they should win it by a couple of lengths. So I'll go with Misty Roller. For second, I'll go with Top of the Rock. His track work has been good. Last time he wasn't far off the winner, just under a length against Declarator, which was a runaway winner that day. And for third, Castle, I think you like him a bit. He's always so unlucky, always in the placings, but I think once again he'll be in the placings, but for a win, I'm a bit too shy for him.
Okay, great. Well, there you go. That's Shahil's on the third race. I'm going to give you my thoughts very quickly because Shahil said it all. I've got the same trifecta as him, but just in a different order. He's gone 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. I think Castle, the fact that it's a 1850, yes, he did finish behind Top of the Rock last time. I just think the 1850 is going to suit him a lot better this time. He's drawn to, if any horse deserves a win in Mauritius, it's Castle. He always tries his best, and unfortunately, he always sort of gets denied. It's a tough race. I'm going to stick with Castle. More on sort of my heart than my head, because I'd like to see him win, especially for the owners as well. And then Top of the Rock, well, he finished just in front of Castle last time, but I'm a little bit worried about the 1850. And then Misty Roller, as you know, he's one of my 2 to follow. He ran a cracking race in that 4-year-old last time where he beat, Lee Star just beat him on the post, and that's an excellent run. But he did have 52 that day. Today he's carrying 61, and I'd like to just see one more run from Misty Roller. If he goes and wins, well done. It was one of my 2 to follow. But I think it's just going to be a little bit tougher for him this time. So I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. Shahil, you're going 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Right, race 4. Possibly my banker of the day. I see he's quite good odds this was. He's trading at 400, 3 to 1. I think it's a very good price, number 1, Gimme Green. I think he was very unlucky last time. I wouldn't say very unlucky. I actually thought he got up on the post to beat Ice Run. This time he's going to be drawn 5. Remember, the Emerging Scepter is going to be coming out, so that 6 draw becomes 5. And you just have to look at the fact that Ice Run's in the race. This time Ice Run's drawn 9. There is a 2.5 kilogram swing in the weights. I think it's 2.5 kilograms, if I'm not sure, or 2 kilograms swing in the weights. I think Gimme Green's going to have a much more comfortable run last time. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he pulled out quite... he was a little bit unlucky on the inside, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he was hanging a bit.
That's right, yeah. So Gimme Green, I remember seeing an interview of Derek David during the week, and they asked him for one horse before he leaves Mauritius, and he tipped Gimme Green. So Gimme Green, I think it's not easy finding bankers on this card, but I'm going to stick my neck out. I'm going to bank a number 1, Gimme Green. What do you think, Shahil, sorry.
I like him a lot too. He went very close last time. He's kept his form in training. I'm sure you've seen him.
Yes,
he's working very, very well. He was only 0.05 behind Ice Run. I think Derek David just allowed Ice Run to go a bit too far last time. So
Get away a little bit, yeah.
this
I
time,
agree.
I don't think Ice Run will have such a comfortable lead. So I will also agree with you that Gimmick Green will be a hard nut to crack.
Okay, and what do you think about Pride Rock?
Pride Rock, we were speaking about him. He's gone up the division. Last time he had that claim from Brandon Louis. This time he's got a new jockey, the French jockey César Passera. Interesting to see how quickly he adapts to the track, because we know how it's a tricky track out here. And he's up in class, so how do you think he's going to go in benchmark 46?
Well, I think he's going to battle. I wouldn't say battle. That's the wrong word to use. I think it's going to be a lot tougher for him this run. Listen, he's won 3 in a row. He's gone up the divisions. He's gone from a 29. He's now a 45. And like Shahil said earlier on, he had that 4 kilos off his back. So that's another 8 points if you think about it. So I think it's just going to be a lot tougher for number 4, Pride Rock. So in other words, I'm going to stick with my selection, number 1, Gimme Green. In fact, I'm going to make him my banker of the day to beat Pride Rock and Ice Run. I think those are the 2 biggest competitors. Just one before we move on. Have you seen anything about Yankee Doodle Dandy? Have you seen his South African form?
Yeah. I'd just like to touch on these 2 newcomers actually. There's the other one, West Coast Warrior 2. Starting off with Yankee Doodle Dandy. He's working well. His South African form. He's got very good 3-year-old form. He was ridden by Anton Marcus most of the time, so he was rated very highly. He likes to follow near the pace, and I think he'll be a good horse for the future, because I might just think that he might just need that first run, and drawn 8, he just needs the first run.
Need the experience.
Same for West Coast Warrior. He's a good South African form. He was trained by Sean Terry, I think. I remember his last win with Lyle Hewitson. I remember in the post-race interview, Lyle said that he's a big striding horse, and that you'll see most of his wins have come on a mile, 1700 and 1800. I just think that the 1450 might be a bit too short for him. Another one to follow for the future.
Yeah, I agree with Shahil. I think both these horses look like they're decent horses. I just can't help but think that they're both going to need their first experience here in Mauritius. Right, race 5, small field, but not the easiest of fields. I must say, I really like the look of number 6, Tanjiro. It was an excellent run. Behind that was Yankee Captain. Yankee Captain needs no introduction. It was his 2nd run. He's had those 2 runs under the belt now, and when I've looked at this field and I've sort of worked this field out, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes off and leads Tanjiro and sort of just dictates it and make it his own pace, because he's capable of doing that. And I think that if this horse does get to the front and he sort of makes it to suit himself, very similar to what Dawn Raid did last week, I think that Tanjiro will be a hard nut to crack. If you look at the horses, his biggest oppositions like Doobie Snappy and 7 Fountains, both these horses, they like the speed on in the race, and they always finish the race as well. If they do go slow here, it's not going to suit the 2 of them. So I'm going to go with Tanjiro. I think he's going to be a big runner in race 5. I just want to touch on one horse before I cross over to Shahil. Brilliant Crimson, as you know, I fancied him last time. Well, he was a bit of a value bet to me. He was 11-1 when he finished behind Saint-Tropez. He was quite far out of his ground, but he finished 2.5 lengths behind Saint-Tropez, which is a good run. And remember, he was entered for the Barbie Cup as well. So they think quite a lot of Brilliant Crimson. He's got the 3 kilos off his back. Look, he is drawn a little bit wide, but he comes from off them. So I think Brilliant Crimson is probably going to be one of the biggest dangers to Tanjiro. Shell, small field, but tough to sort of analyze this race.
Yeah, sure, because of the lack of pace. But like you said, I didn't notice that. Yeah, you're right. Tanjiro can lead in this race, and if he goes to the front, he should be very hard to catch, I believe, because there's no real front runner when you look at the card. And I think the 1650 should suit him better than the 1400 that last time.
For sure, yeah.
The French jockeys do ride well from the front, so if he can lead, a good opportunity for César Passera to bag his first winner.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how quick the Frenchie adjusts to our track. We will have a good chance in race 5, in my opinion. Right, then race 6 is the 990. It's the Lightning Cup. It's a Group 2, and I have to say it's a very exciting race, and it's quite a tough race to find a winner once again. I'm going to go with Nottinghamshire. I know in Mauritius they call it Nottinghamshire, but it's actually Nottinghamshire. One of my South African friends told me off the other day when I called him Nottinghamshire. So Nottinghamshire, 2 very good runs, especially that 990 was a very good run. Yes, he had 52 kilos on his back, but this horse just keeps on improving. He's still got a very handy galloping weight of 56.5. He is drawn 6. When he won that 990 last time, he was drawn 5, and he sort of travelled 1 off, and he pulled out quite wide early on as well. And I don't know, this horse just got that look that he's going to carry on winning races, and I definitely think that Nottinghamshire is the horse to beat in race 6. I'm not going to bank him. I think it's a tough race. In fact, I think if you're a pick 8 player or pick 6 or even a jackpot player, you're going to have to add a couple of horses. I'm going to ask Shahil to help us decide which other horses we're going to have to put in here.
Actually, I couldn't find a banker on the card, so I went in and take a chance with Nottinghamshire. I've seen him at track work for the past 2 weeks. He's in top condition. This horse, like you said, the 990 should be no problem for him. I believe he's the horse to beat. But like you said, we got to include some horses in there. Ernie, I'm very surprised to see Cedric not riding him. I know he's one of his favorite horses, maybe because of draw 8. But he's the title holder of the Lightning Cup. He won the race last year.
Correct.
I believe he should definitely be an inclusion, and he'll be definitely in the top 4.
Okay, there's one or two other horses I want to just mention. Charles Litton, obviously he's moved over to Jean-Michel's stable, and Cedric Sejon, like Shahil says, quite surprising that he's chosen to ride Charles Litton. But if you go back to his penultimate run when Pravesh Harel rode him, when he finished behind Nottinghamshire, remember he's a lot better off in the weights this time. The saddle did slip on that occasion as well. But Charles Litton for me, and I know Mauritians aren't going to like this, but to me he has to be ridden no good. In other words, try and hide him away as long as possible, as if you don't want to win the race, and then that sort of last 100 meters, let his head go. I've ridden a lot of horses like that throughout my career, horses that like to be ridden no good. I think if this horse sees daylight, he doesn't always give his 100% best. If you look at all his best runs, he's always had a sort of a sad story or unlucky story, but I think that's how he likes to be ridden. So Charles Litton, if they go quick, Cedric gives him a chance and tries to save him as long as possible for that last sort of 100. He definitely is capable, this horse, and so I give him a chance as well. And then, unfortunately, once again, Robbie Fred's cracked a bad draw with Yankee Captain. I know he's won a 14 and a mile, but this horse, he looks like a top racehorse, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go flat out. He's going to obviously come from off them with that bad draw. I think even with a 5 or a 6 draw, he'd probably be coming from off them. I don't think he's going to have the speed early on, but I think Yankee Captain is going to be running on the best in this field. So at the end of the day, it's a tough decision to pick a winner. Like I said, if you are an exotic player, add a couple of horses. I would go 1, 3, 4, and 6 as far as my pick 6 and pick 8 is concerned. What are your three? Or what is your trifecta? Put that
I'd
way.
advise you to add number 5 also, Reem, because he's drawn 1, and I don't know if you remember in the nomination, the Gajadar stable had the Thinker in 7th plane. They've choose only Reem to race, so they must rate him very highly. So I'll go with Nottinghamshire, Ernie, Reem, and Yankee Captain.
Okay, like we said, the feature race is a quite tough race to find a winner, and I'll say it again, the risk of repeating myself, add a couple of horses in your exotics. Right, then the 7th race, it's a 990 again, it's a benchmark 31 this time, and I really like the look of Final Cup. In fact, I was a little bit disappointed when I saw his price. I thought that he'd be a nice bet for me, but I've gone and see he's trading about 250, 15 to 10 on the books, and personally I can't see this horse getting beat. He's had the one run this season with the blinkers. Have a look at that draw that he jumped from. He jumped from draw 9. He went to the front, and he only got beat 3 lengths by that top 3-year-old Zodiac Jack. He's had that run under the belt. Remember, he's only been carrying 55.5 kilos. Yes, Rahib did finish in front of him on that day, but Rahib had already run. This was his first run of the season. I think he's come on from that run, and the fact now that there's 3 kilos off Final Cup's back, I think he's, I did work it out, 2.5 kilos better off with Rahib. I'm going to make Final Cup a very, very hard horse to beat. In fact, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to bank him in race 7. Shahil?
I agree with you, Final Cup. Like you said, very cracking run against Zodiac last time. He's got the Apprentice claim, which should be really helpful over the 990. I also like him a lot, and I think he could be a banker.
Yeah, I mean, you said to have a look at the betting last time. He opened up at 49 to 1. He was back down to 16 to 1. I think this horse has got a little bit of ability. Obviously, we all remember what happened on International Day with Jeff. Gave Jeff a hard time. In fact, I think Jeff's foot came out the iron, and so obviously you can ignore that completely. But I thought it was a very good comeback run at the beginning of the season. Well, not at the beginning, his first run of the season. I'm expecting a good run from number 3 Final Cup. I'm going to bank him. Right, then the last race is a 020 1500. Don't we love these 020s? It's so tough to find winners in this race, in this rating. I'm going to go with number 3, Anton Ruskin. I think he is the current favourite. Once again, Jamie Ellison. If things go right, I think Jamie Ellison can ride 5 winners away. I've selected these runners today. But I like that run to man from Seattle last time. He was drawn 3 and he sat up in the box position and he ran a good race. He stayed on for 2nd. This time he's drawn 1. He's got the 3 kilos again. And I think there was a front runner here, Social Network. There's a couple, Bridegroom Bertie. I think he's going to be in the right position once again, and he could just prove too good for them at the end of the day. What do you think about Anton?
I like him a
Ruskin?
lot too. Job race last time. He's kept his good form. He's got a good chance with the claim, and the first barrier, I think he'll be in the box seat, like you said, with a good pace. He should be able to win this one.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know it's always tough to bank in the last race. It's always tough to bank also in the 0-20, but everything's just pointing towards Anton Ruskin winning this race. So let's hope that that goes to plan. Let's talk about any sort of dangers. Vintage Angel, well, he's run 2 sort of fairly good seconds. I wouldn't say they've been great seconds, but he's 3 kilograms better off with a horse like Charles, my boy. So I reckon Vintage Angel will probably be the second best. I want to mention one horse, the Third Man. I don't know if you remember last time I thought he ran a much better race. It wasn't a great run, but it wasn't a bad run. He finished 4th, 4 lengths behind Man from Seattle. I'm expecting a lot more improvement from the Third Man. I'm going to make him my third choice. Shane, give us
Same
your
trifecta, not the right order. I'm going with Anton Ruskin. The third man for second. I've seen improvement from him at track work. The tongue tie goes on for the first time, so I believe should be close to Anton Ruskin. And for third, Vintage Angel too.
Okay, so like Cheryl says, same trifecta, just swap around a couple of numbers there. Right, well, that's all we have for you. That's our 8 races. I'm going to give you my banker. Well, I had 2. I think the one was Final Cup. The other one was Gimme Green. My value bet is going to be Castle. I think he's definitely worth a bet at 620. I think he's trading around 620, and he's going to be my value bet of the day. Cheryl, give us your banker and your...
My banker would be Final Cup. After doing the show with you now, I realize he's a really good bet. And for the outsider, I'll go with Misty Rolling, the same race as Castle.
Okay,
They're both trading at around 600, I think.
Okay, so our value bets both in the same race. So you can maybe flip a coin and decide which one you want to go with our value bet. All right, well, thanks once again for joining us. It's been a pleasure working with Shahil again. Thank you very much for all your views and all your comments. We really appreciate it. Remember, on Wednesday morning will be our show, Jeu de Gallo, where we're going to preview this card and talk about a little bit of training. Thanks again. Goodbye.